Hello, everyone. My name is Mara Earp, and I am so happy that you've come to join me and learn a little bit more about the feral cat problem and what it is that we as a community can do to help this issue on both a small and a major scale. Now, I'm sure that some of you are asking yourselves, how can we help as a community when we are all just people watching this from all over on a computer? We don't live in the same community. Well, you're right. But I think what we really need to consider is what community we're talking about. I don't think there is any local community out there on the planet that doesn't have, at least to some extent, a feral and stray cat issue. So I want to get you engaged on that local level, of course, but more than that, I want to get you engaged on a broader community level, as a cat lovers community as well as a global community. This is an issue that can't just be contained to a local level. If it could, there would actually be areas where there's no feral cat issue, where there's no homeless animal issue at all. But we don't have areas where these issues aren't happening, and that's why I want to empower everyone that I possibly can to think bigger, to think on a global community scale. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am the mother of 3 beautiful children, ages 4, 3, and 1. I'm also a full-time grad student at Full Sail University. Full Sail is actually the reason that I'm here today. Doing this webinar is part of my thesis, and because of that thesis, I've teamed up with a local organization called Hopeful Paws Feral and Stray Cat Rescue to help them with a public relations campaign to help raise funds for their mission. It's because of Hopeful Paws that I'm aware that there is a feral cat problem to begin with. Before them, I was a cat lover, but like many people, when I saw a cat walking on the side of the road, and I just assumed it was somebody's outside cat that was wandering. When I saw a dead cat on the side of the road, it was sad, but I didn't stop. I didn't think about where that cat came from or how it got there. I do now, and that's why I've engrossed myself in the world of feral cats and what I can do to help. So, what is a feral cat? I don't think there's any one way to answer that question, especially a question that large, though I don't think that many people would consider that as large a question as I do. In a nutshell, most think of feral cats as homeless cats. Any cat that is without a home is going to be seen by those out in the community as well as at a local and state official capacity as feral. There is a difference, however, especially to those in the know, between simply a homeless cat and a feral. The difference is the interaction and relationship that the cat has with people, and knowing the difference can really help whether you're someone who works with cats on a daily basis or if you simply share a neighborhood with a feral cat community, which, if we're being honest, just about everyone does. Now, a stray cat is going to be a cat that has been socialized to people but has since left his or her domestic pet life as a pet and has little to no contact with people daily now. However, under the right circumstances, it would be entirely possible for a stray cat to once again become a part of a human family in a life as a pet. On the other hand, there's always a possibility that once a stray cat goes out into the wild, they can become an adult feral cat. A feral cat is not socialized to people. This is a cat that has never had contact with people, or their contact with people has greatly diminished over time. A true feral adult cat is not going to be adoptable. And for instance, if this kind of cat, if an adult feral cat is picked up by animal control, it's likely to be killed or euthanized. They can't adopt these cats out. They can't even put them into a situation in a shelter with other cats that are adoptable because the socialization is so different. So these cats they're going to be killed, and that's a terrible thing. At least I hope everyone out there believes the way I do. I want to tell you some key factors to look for when you spot a cat outside. Now, a stray may approach you, a car, your porch, whereas a feral is not going to do that. A feral is fearful of people and will likely go into hiding. Another thing to look for is that a stray will more than likely live on its own and not part of a community. A feral cat is going to live in a community. They're socialized with other wild cats. A stray cat They're not used to that. If it was a domestic pet, it got out, it has become a stray, they're still not going to be used to that feral cat community. But one of the biggest things that I really want everyone to know to look for, that is a big indicator when you see a cat outside, is going to be the way they walk. A stray is probably going to walk the way most people associate with the house cat. They're going to look ordinary to you, standing upright, tail up, visible, almost friendly looking, whereas a feral is most likely going to be lower, crouching, staying low to the ground, almost crawling. They're wild and will have the instincts to go as unnoticed as possible. You got to think lions and tigers and cheetahs, oh my, as to what you're going to see, that stalking tendency, wild. That's the word I think that comes to mind. Now, let's talk statistics. A simple Google search can give you a lot of information about feral cats, and it's true that when you're looking from one site to another, you're going to find yourself scratching your head and wondering which site is offering the right information, because you're going to get different numbers for the same thing. In general, you can trust that most of what you see is going to be different based on several factors, the big one being area. Where are those numbers coming from? Are they coming from your local animal rescue and humane society? Because you may be local in a rural area, rural North Carolina, for example, versus somebody living in LA and going to their local humane society and getting numbers. It's going to be very different. LA, New York, Chicago, Houston, Miami, Atlanta. A lot of people, you don't see a whole lot of feral cats out there. At least in my experience, you don't. But they're there, and they're actually much larger in number because of for several reasons. A, you have smaller rodent problems, so it's got an abundant food source. But you also have to consider it's more packed with people, which means Sally in apartment 3B has a cat that got out, that came back pregnant, now it's got kittens. What are they going to do with those kittens? The Humane Society isn't going to take them because they're already euthanizing so many cats per day. So these cats get out and loose, and it really, it doubles up the numbers. So when you're looking at numbers, at least when it comes to something like feral cat statistics, please always take into consideration that you want to look at where locality-wise those numbers are coming from. A lot of my information that I'm going to be giving you tonight is coming from the Solano Feral Cat Group, which is giving numbers that are going to be generalized for a broader nationwide look. Now, feral cats can, on average, have 1.4 litters a year with an average of 3.5 live births per litter. What does that mean? That means that over a 7-year period, one single pair of breeding cats and their offspring have the potential to produce more than 420,000 cats. That is a lot of cats. 7 years, one breeding pair has another pair, has more kittens, their offspring. 420,000 cats in 7 years. Add on to that of approximately the 146 million cats in America, about half of them, are homeless. Now let's put that into a bigger perspective. There are, on average, about 10,000 humans born in the U.S. per year. That's a lot of kids. But each year there are 70,000 kittens born. Those numbers, my friends, are not equal unless each child born claims and cares for 7 cats, which isn't going to happen. We are always going to have a feral, stray, homeless cat problem. We're going to have the cats out there. So, what do these numbers really mean? They mean that there is a problem, a feral cat problem. But what does that really mean? Are we saying that there's a problem with the feral cats to the human population? That is definitely one way to look at it. Feral cats can carry diseases that can affect humans, like Pan-Luke. Pan-Luke is a highly contagious disease that is often compared to parvo in dogs. It's very prevalent in feral cat communities. You may know it as feline distemper. This is a viral disease that is so common that, according to the experts at PetEducation.com, it is highly likely that most cats in general will come in contact with it within their lifetime. It can live for 10 years, and it's very hard to kill. And when I say very hard to kill, I mean it can live outside in frozen areas for 10 years. The only thing that's going to kill it is going to be a bleach and water solution, and who wants to spray that on their yard, especially if they have kids? It can live for 10 years. There is, however, a simple vaccine that can prevent it. So how is this a problem, you ask? Well, what happens when your kitten sneaks out the door and comes into contact with the waste of a feral cat that's infected? Your sweet, domesticated, fluffy cat can contract the virus. This means one of two things: either a very, very costly vet bill in the thousands of dollars without any guarantees, or death. There's also the issue that feral cats cause when it comes to your children. If your children are anything like mine, when they see a cat, they're going to try and touch it. Kids love kitties. And for the most part, this really isn't going to be an issue because, as we already discussed, ferals are going to be hiding. And if they are out in the open, they aren't likely to be caught by your 2-year-old. But there's always that 1 in a million, right? That off chance that your 2-year-old is out in the back, and they look behind a tree, bam, feral cat. Are you okay with the off chance that that cat is going to attack your child? What if that cat has rabies? Well, there is a small chance that the feral you or your family runs into is going to have rabies. Very small, but how can you be sure? Is that the feral cat problem? That, along with the fact that they tend to hunt their food, which means all local wildlife is game: birds, bunnies, fish, your pet guinea pig that got out. These are the reasons that groups of people advocate for ferals to be destroyed. They want to rid the world of the feral cat problem, but the phrase feral cat problem is a double entendre, because while the connotation is that cats are the problem, there's also the fact that the cats have a problem. They're hated for being nothing more than what they are meant to be naturally, which is wild. They live in communities, they hunt their food, they deal with horrible viruses and diseases, and they still thrive. But still, they're hunted. Local and state governments have taken drastic measures over the years to rid their areas of the feral cat problem. This can include trapping and euthanizing, permitting shooting of these cats on site. Do you really want somebody shooting in their backyard? I don't want that. There's also the intentional releasing of the pan-Luke virus, which into a local area to reduce the population. It's spoken about in a 2005 article in the Journal of the American Veterinary Medical Association. It can hurt your head and your heart just thinking about it. So, what can you do to help? Something as simple as putting out a bowl of water on a hot summer day can make all the difference in the life of a feral. A bowl of food. By doing this, you are creating a safe haven for these cats, which could be saving their lives. If you want to go a step further, you should look into a TNR program. What's a TNR program? It's a program that specializes in the trap, neuter, and return of stray and feral cats. You will know if a cat has been through this kind of program if you see the tip of one of their ears has been cropped. And what this means is that the way a cat's ear kind of points up, on one side is going to be cut off in a straight line, so it's not going to look like they've been in a fight. You'll definitely know when you're seeing it. This is a signal to humans that that cat is not going to reproduce. They're going to live out their life and not contribute to the larger issue. A TNR program, such as Hopeful Paws, goes out and sets up cages, make sure they get full. Once they have the cat in the cage, they're going to take them to the vet or to a local shelter or to a humane society where they offer a feral cat package, where they're spayed and neutered and given vaccines against pan-Luke and rabies. Once that's done, the place, like Feral Paws, the organization, is going to take the cat back for a 24-hour watch period, because obviously we're cat advocates. We love cats. We want to make sure these cats are safe, that they're coming out of the anesthesia well. And then after that 24-hour period, they're going to be released back into their community, out to their environment. Now think about it. Not only are you looking at cats in your neighborhood being vaccinated, which means we're already at less of a risk. Then add on top of that they're spayed and neutered, which in a more generalized perspective means that the cat can be more docile, which again poses less of a risk to people. It's also lengthening the lifespan of a cat, which in turn means you are preventing one cat from dying and another from coming into the territory and taking over, thus starting the cycle all over again. What that means, a lot of people are like, oh, we're trying to get rid of the feral cat problem. Why would we want to just release it back? Well, when a cat is spayed or neutered, it's no longer contributing to the problem. By spaying and neutering one cat, you are stopping a breeding pair from over 7 years, preventing 420,000 more births. Helping saves 10 minutes. 10 minutes of helping saves lives. And by keeping a cat and expanding their lifespan in your neighborhood, it means that that cat is preventing the cat from three neighborhoods over that hasn't been spayed or neutered from coming into the area and creating those lives all over again. The average cost to put a cat through a TNR program is $100. About $50 of that comes from the procedure alone, and then you add on the costs of labor for trapping, the traps themselves, the aftercare of the procedure, the food, the litter, the space. So donate. You want to find out how to help, you donate. Help those who help cats. You can also look into volunteering. There are always needs for volunteers, and you can fill it. Maybe money's tight, and you're not able to get out there and do it yourself. That's okay. Be an advocate. You never know when what you are going to say is going to affect someone else to make a change. Maybe telling your husband's best friends, wife's mother's, sister's, daughter's cousin means that they get out and volunteer. They put out the bowl of water. They make a donation. Maybe they donate a bag of cat litter or food. Anything that you do is going to save a life down the road. Educate yourself and those around you. Go to a cat advocacy Facebook page like Feral Paws Stray, Hopeful Paws. I'm getting tongue-tied. I apologize. Hopeful Paws Feral and Stray Rescue. It's facebook.com/hopefulpaws. A simple click on that website, a like, means that somebody on your Facebook page is going to say, hey, they like this Feral Paws, let's check it out, and then they like it. And then suddenly Feral Paws Facebook, their fan base expands, which means that Facebook puts them in a better algorithm, which means they get more visibility, which means more money for the cats, more donations to help this problem and end the cycle. No matter what you do, I encourage you to visit any page that you can and find out more about feral cats and the feral cat problem. Educate yourself. Seek out information from as many places as you can. If you have questions that I cannot answer, these people probably can. Look at the Solano Ferals group, Alley Cats. They are amazing. So much information on these sites. The Humane Society of America, that can give you a list to every humane society in the country, and you can find out if they have their own feral cat program. What can you do to help? If there's no other groups in your area, check out the Humane Society. I encourage you to educate yourself, get out there. Again, 10 minutes, people. 10 minutes, and we can save lives. Now, time for some questions and answers. Does anybody at all have a question for me? I will be more than happy to answer. Nobody? Okay, well, I definitely want to thank you all for tuning in, and for those of you who are watching this afterwards, please feel free to contact me here on the website or email me. Go to hopefulpaws.com or facebook.com/hopefulpaws. Post your questions. We'll get answers. Crowdsource some answers. Get involved. Get engaged. Again, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day.